The Chicago Bulls found a hidden gem with Ayo Dosumu. We're going to be talking about why Ayo is a hidden gem for the Chicago Bulls and why he is listed as one of the top underrated players in the NBA. This is your host, Rico Greenhowe. This is another episode of Bulls Digest. And before we jump into today's hot topic, I want to go ahead and share a special message from today's sponsor of the video, Fume. Have you heard that the flavored air category is quickly becoming the leading alternative to vaping and smoking? It's a whole new movement towards better habits led by the sponsor of today's video, Fume. Fume has served over 300,000 customers, and you could be the next success story. For a limited time, use my code DIGEST to get your free topper. It's the perfect accessory to your Fume device. Slip it onto the mouthpiece for a softer, warmer feel. It's chewable for those who love to fidget, and it's reusable. Head to tryfume.com. That's tryfume.com and use the code DIGEST, or you can scan the QR code on the screen to get your free Fume topper when you order your journey pack today. Go to tryfume.com/digest or scan the QR code and use the code DIGEST to get your free Fume base when you order your journey pack today. All right, so we're talking about Ayo, and we're talking about the fact that he is listed as a top player in the NBA that is underrated. I think that he's been vastly underrated with the Chicago Bulls, and I think it comes down to the fact that, well, with the new addition of Josh Giddey, I think that that's automatically pushed him to the bench, especially since we have not got a trade for Zach Lavine. Then you hear the rumblings of Lonzo Ball and his situation and him coming back. So I think a lot of players are talked about other than Ayo. And I tell you, like, I understand with the addition of Josh Giddey, many feel like, hey, it's a contract year for him. He's wanting to pretty much come back from a down year with OKC. He's no longer behind Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He wants to get a chance to run a team. And so I understand the hype that's coming with that. And then with Jalen Smith and that addition, you know, I know that a lot of Chicago Bulls fans are looking for the Bulls to go a different direction in the front court. Obviously, Vooch took a step back. Jalen Smith looks like a player that can help us take a step forward, if not two, with his athleticism, his physicality, his ability to shoot the ball. So I think that there's a lot of players where the spotlight is on them, and I think that a lot of people forget about Ayo. And I also think, too, Kobe White as well. I think that a lot of people forget that both him and Kobe White, they were responsible for helping this team get to the play-in situation. And just because DeMar DeRozan is gone, it doesn't mean that their game is somehow going to disappear. And I think that this year, it's going to have to take another leap forward, not just for the Chicago Bulls to win games this year, but I just think in the future, if they're going to be foundational pieces, then you want those players to continue to develop. And so, again, I think that, he's listed at the number 2 player on this particular list, and they talk about several different reasons why. Number 1 for Ayo, he is on a team-friendly deal, and that's absolutely true. I mean, I think it's a steal for the Chicago Bulls to get him at the value that they have him at right now. And then they talk about the fact that he is 6'5" with a 6'10" wingspan. That is spectacular. You now know why he is just a defensive terror right there. That's why he causes such havoc on the defense, and he's so good at getting to the rim and finishing with that wingspan. All right, and so then they talk about how elite defensively he is. They talk about, look, for players that guard it 1 through 3, and at least 20% of the time, he's in the same category with a Jaylen Brown, also too with Mikal Bridges, with Jaden McDaniels, right? Like, these are elite players, okay? And so he is right there with those elite players. And then they also talk about the fact that he has improved offensively. Okay, so from downtown right now, he's shooting about 40%. They're talking about the volume is not necessarily there at 4.8, but they talk about him just off the dribble, pull up threes. He's at 38.1%, which is pretty phenomenal to know that he's able to come at you full speed. He's able to get a good base and then get up a good shot from downtown, which allows you, or which shows, excuse me, that it allows him really to open up his offensive game. And that's one of the things that I think was a real knock on Ayo, was that his offense wasn't quite there. And I've said this before on the channel, and I'll say it again. I think that his game compares a lot to Jimmy Butler, in my opinion. I think that they had to start off the same way. In fact, they were the same age when they entered the NBA, and they have a lot of those same type of traits. And when you look at it statistically right now, going into year 4 for Ayo, his offensive percentages are actually better than what Jimmy Butler's was. All right. And the only difference at this point going into year 4, where Jimmy Butler really took off, it came down to minutes, right? It came down to minutes, and it came down to usage. We're going to take a look at that in a second. And this is key, and this is critical, all right? Because I just talked about the additions that the Chicago Bulls have with Zach Lavine not being moved. And then also, too, you have Lonzo Ball. We've just added Modest Buzelis. Like, these are players that are going to want minutes and need minutes, right? And that's going to obviously take away from Ayo, and that's going to take away from his usage rate and everything else as far as taking a leap. But like I said, in comparison to Jimmy Butler, let's take a look. So when you look at Jimmy Butler, like I said, same age, you're looking at the games played for Jimmy Butler. He really took off in year 3 and 4. The minutes for him, that was another reason why I think you see the big jump with Jimmy Butler. Yes, he has more blocks. Yes, he has more rebounds and steals. But look at the points per, all right, 13.1. So then when you look at Ayo, you're going to see that his is at 12.2. That's very similar. But look at the field goal percentage from the 3-point attempts, and then also too from the 2-point attempts, right? His field goal percentage is very, very good. Yes, his rebounds are not quite there where Jimmy Butler's is, and the steals are not there, but his assists are there, which suggests to me that at the end of the day, Ayo just needs to continue to get minutes played. And I'm hoping that the Chicago Bulls don't just push his development out of the way. Like, I hope that they continue to play him and realize that he was a big part in last year's team. And I think he's going to be a big part in the future for these upcoming teams. Even if you get Cooper Flag there, you still need to have players around him. And so player development, playing players is what the Chicago Bulls are going to have to do. And that goes for Kenny Lofton Jr. if you feel like he's going to be a part of this. Sonogo, DJ Stewart, Modest Buzelis, Ayo, whoever you think is going to be in your future. They're not going to get the experience from just a training camp, practice, preseason. Like, you need to play them against actual players in the NBA and see what they can do. So let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think the Chicago Bulls are really sleeping on Ayo and they should be playing him a bit more to take that next leap this year? Or do you feel like, hey, it's the veterans' time, they're going to have to take off and do their thing? Because I'm like, look, the Chicago Bulls aren't going to win a championship. They're not going to win the Eastern Conference. They're not going to go deep into a playoff series. You need to find out what players that you can count on or what players that you're going to have to count out. So anyway, appreciate you guys. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Wanted to let you know that 68.4% of you that watch the videos are not subscribed to the channel. Make sure you mash that subscribe button. It means a lot to me as we try to reach 5,000 subscribers. Special thanks to Fume, who sponsored the video. Even though we have a player on the roster that we absolutely should be playing next season, that we probably are not going to develop him correctly, I'm still saying go Bulls, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.